I don't know anything about San Diego State. I just know that they're a very good club, and you know, we'll spend the next 3 days trying to figure out everything we can about those guys. I'm pretty familiar with Lafayette's facility and their you know, the town and that stuff. I haven't been in Natchitoches for 4 years, right up the road. So I think it's a tremendous challenge for our club. I think it's a really good regional, and I think that you know, our kids are excited about you know, going on the road and having this challenge in front of us.
What's the ballpark like, John? Is there a comparison?
You know, at one point, I thought it played really big, but you know, there's a lot of balls flying out of that place for whatever reason. I don't know if there were any alterations made to the ballpark, but obviously, it's a great atmosphere, and you know, obviously Coach Hudspeth's down there, and he's done a phenomenal job with their football program, and you know, I've always been a great admirer of what they do down there. So this isn't an accident. You know, Lafayette's been good for a while, and but you know, we're not really concerned with them because we're not guaranteed we get to play them. We are guaranteed we get to play San Diego State. We know they're a good club. How good, don't know. But I'm sure the more I read about them here shortly, the more I'll find out.
How do you prepare for an opponent you've never seen before?
We, you know, as the evil man once said, we have our ways. You know, we will gather video and get a ton of information. You know, baseball coaches as a trade are pretty, you know, sneaky guys. They have their ways of finding out information. So we'll find out a ton about them. They'll find out a ton about us. And, you know, they wouldn't be in the tournament if they weren't a really good club. So we'll find out a bunch shortly and get ready for those guys.
Now that you know the schedule, playing 2 o'clock Friday, how's the practice and travel schedule set up?
I would imagine that we'll either leave here Wednesday night or Thursday morning. You know, we'll try and practice as close to that game time as possible. You know, heat be a factor. Heat's a factor all over the Southeast, but especially down there. And we'll do everything to prepare our bodies, get ready for, you know, when you're playing in the heat of the day, it becomes a little bit of an endurance thing no matter what position you play, especially the catching and pitching position. So we'll have those guys ready and compete against a really good field.
Talk about the potential of going to Oxford for a super regional.
Yeah, I'm not even, you know, we play San Diego State. We don't play in Oxford. So that's not coach speak or anything like that. But anytime you get ahead of yourself in terms of talking about future opponents, you're making a huge mistake. And I'm really hopeful that our players don't fall into that.
You had practice this morning. You come a couple days back from Hoover. You know, what's the team temperature at this point going into the regionals?
You know, like every team that I've been a part of this time of year, you know, you really have to fight to get everything going because you know, when you're coming off an off day and you have some soreness and you play 4 times in 4 days, you know, that's your battle, and you slowly get back into full speed. You know, baseball is more of a concentration full speed thing than a physical full speed thing. So we're going to really have to grind through some practices and some heat and get where we need to be to play a good club on Friday.
How much will your research determine who may start for you on Friday?
Oh, it'll be big. Yeah, I mean, that'll be big. I feel like we have lots of opportunities or options for starting pitching. You know, are they more, is San Diego State more left-handed or right-handed? Don't know, but we'll find out all that information and have some options.
John, Jackson State is the 4 in your region. Can you just kind of talk about helping them out equipment-wise after what happened with their bus and how that came about?
You know, I think, first of all, that was all Scott Strickland and our president. Dr. Keenum, those guys were the guys who they were telling me that we need to do something immediately to help before I even knew what happened. So those guys are the ones to credit. But, you know, Mississippi State's not the only organization or school that helped those guys out. I think it was a group effort, and that's the wonderful thing about this state is it wouldn't matter who that happened to. Everybody's going to chip in our state because that's what Mississippi's all about. You know, everybody comes together to help each other. It doesn't matter if it's that bus situation or something much more tragic like a tornado. Everybody's going to come together, and that's why it's an honor to be part of the state and part of the, the brotherhood, really, of intercollegiate athletics.
What does it mean for this program just to be headed to a fourth straight postseason?
I think, certainly that's our expectation level, but you got to win. We got to win in the postseason. I think at some point in time when you're trying to turn a corner, you say getting there is nice. I think our kids are really focused on winning and getting to that next step. You don't want to look beyond your first game or a future opponent, but it's about winning that first game and putting ourselves in the best position to do that. So, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff you think about in retrospect, and we don't, right now, hopefully we don't have time for retrospect.
When you look at who might throw, especially against San Diego State, and you've never seen them and they've never seen you, do you just look more introspective and say who's ready and who's looking the best?
You talking about in terms of pitching matchups?
In terms of, yeah, in your bullpen with your guys, it's more like I'm evaluating my guys more than I'm evaluating what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more about us than it is the opponent, but if something screams out about their club, if you do research, and it says something like, hey, a right-handed breaking ball is the way to go against this club, or left-handed sinker guy is the way to go against this club, then you're certainly going to listen to that as well.
Your guys have been really
Is now, is right now where he's pitching right now compared to a couple weeks ago. What do you think he is, Ross?
Oh, I think Ross is fine. I think, he really made about 2 mistakes against a good Kentucky offensive club, and I think overall he's right where he has been. I think he's a key for us in postseason play.
Club's been really good on the road. Just how confident do you think they are going away for a regional?
Well, I'd like to think our kids are confident, but I think our kids clearly understand you're not really playing against an opponent, you're playing against a game. You can't allow the game to beat you. And I think that's our whole mantra, that's our whole attitude. If you look at us defensively and on the mound, that's how you beat the game. You don't let the game beat you. So I think our kids understand that concept. They feel like we excel in that area, and they feel like we can beat anybody.
Looking at your staff, it seems like Ross would be a guy that would definitely get the ball at some point. What's the positives maybe using him on a Friday compared to a Saturday and kind of vice versa?
It just depends on what the matchup is. And certainly, in postseason, there's very few tomorrows. So you do whatever you can to win that game. So, game 1 is critical. There is no game 2. You got to win game 1. And we're going to do everything we can to put ourselves in a position to do that.
Thanks, John.